respected Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, Shri Motilal Vora ji, Shri Chandi Prasad Bhatt ji, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On this solemn occasion of the anniversary of the martyrdom of our great beloved leader, Srimati Indira Gandhi ji, I pay homage to her and join the people of India in grateful remembrance. For centuries to come, our nation will honor her memory in recognition of her vital role in the building of modern India and her supreme sacrifice for the cause of national integration. Indira ji will be remembered as one of our tallest leaders. In order to uphold the cause of national integration and understanding which was dearest to Indira ji's heart, the Indian National Congress in its centenary year had instituted the Indira Gandhi Award for National Integration to give recognition to selected persons for their outstanding contribution to this cause. The award is a tribute to the memory of Indira ji. It is also a token of our appreciation and respect for the work of the awardee person. It was therefore only befitting that the award we have instituted in Indira ji's memory should in fact be to celebrate the contribution of our countrymen and countrywomen to our national integration. It is most appropriate that this year's Indira Gandhi Award for National Integration is being given to Shri Chandi Prasad Bhatt ji. In honoring Shri Chandi Prasad ji, we honor a long and venerable tradition of public service in the best of the path shown by Mahatma Gandhi. Chandi Prasad ji's entire life has been dedicated to public causes. His foray into social activism that began in the small town of Gopeshwar in Garhwal became a lifelong innings in public service. His whole life personifies dedication to public cause. He gives the idea of social service a good name. This is the year when we are celebrating Gandhiji's 150th birth centenary. And I am inclined to believe that the Mahatma Ji would be pleased that this year the award is going to a man who made us take note of the incipient crisis of climate change. Beginning with his involvement with the Chipko movement, Chandi Prasad ji was among the first group of civic leaders like Baba Amte and Sundarlal Bahuguna ji who flagged down concerns of environment protection. Chandi Prasad ji insisted that we as a society and as a political system took better care of our forests and cared for those who depended on the forest for their livelihood. That was a time when the process of industrialization was making its own demands on our forests and on our rural society. But Chandi Prasad ji and his dedicated band of fellow activists were relentless in their advocacy that national planners factored in environmental costs in their policy prescription. Thanks to the untiring efforts and struggles of activists like Shri Chandi Prasad ji, we today have a better appreciation and deeper understanding of the needs of the forest dwellers. Planners and administrators all over have acknowledged a collective obligation to preserve and sustain our national resources, our natural resources in a responsible manner. It was Mahatma Gandhi who had foreseen this dilemma when he observed, and I quote, "Each earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not everyone's greed." I think Chandi Prasad ji's life is a testimony to this Gandhian wisdom. In honoring Shri Bhatt today, we also reaffirm the lasting relevance of Gandhiji's philosophy and teaching. I congratulate Shri Bhatt, and I sincerely hope that he will continue to strive and struggle in defense of those of our countrymen and women who are on the margin. With these words, I once again congratulate Chandi Prasad ji for being awarded this very prestigious award.
Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, Chandi Prasad Bhatt ji, Motilal Vora ji, distinguished guests, friends. This evening we gather here to honor distinguished men and women whose lives have epitomized the values Indira Gandhi cherished, the ideals she stood for, the causes she championed, and the principles for which she became a martyr. National integration was one of Indira ji's many passions, but unlike those in the ruling establishment now, she did not equate unity with uniformity. On the contrary, she was deeply conscious of and proud of India's many diversities. She was profoundly sensitive to India's many cultural traditions. She was fiercely wedded to strengthening the bonds of political and cultural unity. She believed in accommodating, respecting, and celebrating our many diversities. She also recognized that without just economic and social policies that actively promoted equity and inclusiveness, India could not develop and prosper. Her vision of national integration was all-encompassing, helping the disadvantaged and ensuring that no section of Indian society was excluded on the basis of caste or creed. The fundamental assumptions that guided our freedom struggle and inspired our country after independence are now being called into question. Today, we see rising intolerance, rising violence, a skewed vision of our history and society is being imposed along with falsehood and unscientific ideas. All this is the antithesis of the liberal, secular, and democratic foundations of our country. If national integration was one of Indira Gandhi's passions, the preservation of India's rich and wonderful biodiversity was a vision far ahead of its time. She strove for economic development, but it was a steadfast conviction that the means must not disturb what she used to often call ecological balance. Economic growth must not mean the destruction of the environment. So it is most appropriate that today we honor Chandi Prasad Bhatt, a true Gandhian, a man whose entire life has been shaped by the Sarvodaya philosophy. For well over a century, he has been a relentless fighter for the protection of our forests, our rivers, our mountains, and of our natural heritage. He has inspired people's movements in different parts of the country, of which the Chipko Andolan is perhaps the most famous. This agitation had a huge impact on Indira Gandhi's own thinking and led to the historic Forest Conservation Act of 1980. There is a fact that perhaps it's less known, and I would like to mention. In the mid-70s, Chandi Prasadji was also the savior of the sacred temple of Badrinath. There had been, at that time, a plan to embellish the temple, to modernize it, so to speak, by tampering with its original structure. He led a protest against the plan involving the people of the area, men, women, and young people, and as a result, the historically unique architectural style of Badrinath was preserved. The incident, and I mentioned this particular incident because it shows that, like Indira Gandhi, he believes in the inseparability of our cultural as well as our natural heritage. Chandi Prasad Bhatt has been a beacon for many across our country for the courage of his convictions, for the force of his ideas and actions, and for the manner of his living and working. He has influenced so many, not only in India, but elsewhere in other parts of the world. So may he continue to illuminate our path ahead during these very troubled times. Thank you. Jai Hind.